Now, after you will complete the review lessons, and I would like to tell you that you can do more than once the review lesson. You may teach, let's say, 2 times the review lesson or 3 times the review lesson because your students need to develop that automaticity in the recognition of a blend of a digraph. I would also encourage you that you have these at the back in a poster for your students to be able to see when you're working with them. Of course, that will benefit all your learners, especially if you're in the third grade. However, I definitely encourage you, and we encourage you to do that for the students who are working in a small group, so they're not guessing. They are never put in a position where they need to remember and stray a lot of energy trying to recall, because the goal is to support them to develop that automaticity and then remove all this information. So if we look now in these preliminary lessons that we have, we say that we're teaching the syllable types. So the students may be aware, they may be familiar with open syllable, closed syllable. They may know the silent E, as they call it, or the VCE pattern. However, the students may not really know the syllable types and how they work together to spell words and to read words. So this is an opportunity for them to practice this, but only in single syllable words where we introduce now the syllable types. So that way they will understand what are those, how they work, and how can they be used. So in this lesson, the first lesson, we provide 3. We are working open, closed, and R control. As you can see again in the lesson, we provide you with a list of the materials you will use, the agenda that you will have, and then these links help you remember as you're teaching. First, if you would like to remember what are the syllables, what does it mean to work with syllables, but then the rest of them will be explaining to you how do I teach my strategy if you don't remember how to do the reading or spelling strategy. So you need a quick recall. And then these little videos, they will give you specific links to the actual lessons. So how will you teach the lesson? I will point out to you again the sequence of the lesson. You start with the introduction, lesson objective. We included here quick review. If after teaching 3 times the lesson review or 2 times the lesson review, your students need that review, we ask that you review only the parts that they need. You don't need to go through all of this every time. So review what they need if they need it. Otherwise, completely skip this quick review, because this quick review is not necessary for your group if they know what a blend, what a digraph, what a consonant, and what a vowel are. And then you will go to the explanation where you explain to them what's an open syllable and you model it. And then after that, you are working on the reading of the words where you model, and then the students will work on their own book. They will be practicing with their own words in the collaborative practice. And then after that, they will do the independent practice. The collaborative practice is exactly the same words that you did. The same words you modeled for the students, the same words they are repeating. Why, you may be wondering, why can I skip this? This seems to be too much. Why do I do it twice? Because we want the students to see you practice it and model it. And then by using the same words, they are developing a bit more confidence to that task for them to say, this is open, this is closed. And then when they go to their own, that is mastery application. So I want you to be thinking of this more as I do, we do, you do. I model, we do it together, and then you do on your own. And in the collaborative part, the teacher is doing it. The students may be contributing, but the teacher is doing this. Because again, you want to go through this quickly. I want again to remind you that this is for students who are struggling. So we are trying to get them to develop the automaticity and to be confident and competent to move out of this. The goal is not to spend 30 minutes going through what's a vowel, what's a consonant, and what a blend is, or going through the words as a group with guessing. What do you think this will be? We do not have any of what do you think this will be. It is very direct, explicit, systematic, because we are teaching with urgency. And the goal is to support the students to be really out of this. So once they will work in the independent reading application, then you proceed with spelling. The teacher models spelling, and then after that, the students will apply the spelling. And then they will work on spelling words. And then you're having the writing of sentences and finally the reading of the book. So I will go back at the very beginning. I'm sorry if I get you dizzy by going so quickly back. And I want you again to pay attention to my pace, the way that I'm pacing the lesson. So we will work to read and spell multisyllabic words. These are often called big words. Multisyllabic words, as the term implies, have many syllables. A syllable is a unit of pronunciation that has a vowel. If I speak like a robot, I can break words into syllables. For example, in the word capital, I say capital, 3 syllables. In the word capability, I have capability, 5 syllables. A syllable needs a vowel. Today, we'll be working with specific syllables and how they are read in single syllable words. Remember, big words consist of smaller words. If we know how to read and spell those smaller words, we can read and spell multisyllabic words. We will learn the 6 syllable types. So we practice how to flexibly divide words to read them. Today, we will work with open syllable, closed syllables, and R-controlled syllables. You see, I purposely skipped the review because at this point, I will not provide a review of digraphs, blends, vowels, and consonants. I will move to the explanation part. So what is an open syllable? An open syllable is a syllable that ends with a vowel and has no consonant after the vowel. So the vowel says its name. This means it says the name it has in the alphabet. So what are the names of these vowels? So here I can display the vowels poster. I can display the poster that we will have, or I can display my poster at the back, and I can have this. So now I will say A, E, I, O, U, and Y, right? Okay, these are the vowels. So the vowel, the gate will be open, the vowel will say its name. So I will read, here is a word I have for you. Here is my word. I will read E, me. The vowel will say its name, me. The second syllable type we will work with is a closed syllable. A closed syllable is a syllable that has a consonant or a consonant blend or a digraph immediately after the vowel. The vowel cannot say its name. It makes its other sound, as in octopus, right? It will make its short sound. Therefore, while E was an open syllable, I will now read, I will underline my vowel, met. Met is a closed syllable. The third syllable type that we will talk about is an R-control syllable. An R-control syllable is a syllable in which the short vowel is followed by the R, which influences now the pronunciation of the vowel. So I have A-R, R as in car, O-R, or as in fork, E-R, as in fern, I-R, as in shirt, U-R, as in fur. So R, or, they sound the same. So I need to pay attention when I'm spelling. It is important to recognize those syllable parts in words, so we read the words automatically and accurately and spell them correctly. Remember, a syllable needs a vowel. Very good. Now, I need to read this word. Here is the word. I will use my strategy. I will underline the vowel, E. I have one syllable. I know this is an open syllable. As the gate is open, the vowel says its name. Actually, one of the few words that has an open syllable, and this does not apply where this will happen, is this word. And this word is do. I do not say do, I say do. This is the only word where I have actually an open syllable, and this doesn't apply. I need now to read this word. Here is my second word. I will use my strategy. I will underline the vowel, A. I have one syllable. Here's my thinking. The gate is closed. The vowel cannot say its name, so it will make its other sound, and it will say ah. So the word is I cast. The word is a closed syllable because there is a consonant after the vowel. It's a blend. It's an S blend. The word is cast. In a sentence, I would say, she had a cast for her broken arm. Now, I need to read this word. What will I do? I will use my strategy. I will underline the vowel, and I see I have an R control because I have the R next to it. I have one syllable. This is an R controlled syllable. There is a short vowel with an R which influences the sound of my vowel. The word is fur. In a sentence, we will say, the boy pet the cat's fur. Fur. Very good. So now let's continue. At this stage, the teacher will continue the modeling, and you can see that we provide you exactly with the language that you will be using. So everything is written. You also see that we have a second set of words. Stop. Don't use the second set of words, but only if the progress monitor that you will do indicates that the students didn't know, could not perform above 75%, above 50%, and that's why you decided to reteach. If you reteach a second week the same lessons, that's when you will use the second set of words. Now, after this task that you are doing the collaborative work where you're working together, and then the students work on their own. You're giving to the students the work, and you say, I now will have a list of words that are different from the ones we practice. I would like for you to read them and identify the syllable. Remember, a syllable always needs a vowel. You will have 2 minutes to read the words, determine the syllable types and the words' meanings. And then the teacher gives them the words. They are in the student book that they have, and then the students underline the task. After the teacher reviews with the students the task. So the teacher says, we will now check together. Put your finger on the first word. What's the vowel? The students need to say I. What's the syllable type? Closed. What's the word? Frisk. And that's why you're going through it with the entire group as a group. Then the teacher proceeds with the spelling of the words. So reading and writing are connected. If we can read words, we can also figure out how to spell them. If we know syllables, we can also check our spelling. I want to spell the word mark. I will say the syllable, I will say the sounds of the syllable, and I will pay attention to the vowel sounds. The word is mark. Mark, one syllable. Okay, I will say the sounds. Arc. I will spell M-A-R, arc. Mark. I will spell arc. Now I will reread to check my work. Arc. A mark is a spot or it's a dot in the surface of something. In a sentence, I will say, there is a mark on the sofa. Mark. And now that we did that, I ask you to spell words. You should always check your spelling and writing by rereading. Make sure to listen very carefully to the vowel sound. Say the syllables. Think of the sounds within each and then spell each sound. And check the word, and always think of the word's meaning. So be very, very careful when you're reading. Ready? When you're rereading and checking. Listen. And then the teacher gives each one of the words. Now, at the very end, you're asking the students again to check, and you're checking it all together, or you are writing the words and you're explaining this. So this information that we provide here, it's for your checking. It is not for you to tell the students how to spell the words. This is for you to check after the students have written the words, where you write them and you are explaining the spelling of the words. And after this, it's the writing of sentences. We're learning to read and spell words so we can become more accurate in reading and spelling words in sentences and then in books. I will dictate to you a sentence. I would like you to write the words in the sentence. Listen, when it is dark, the fish likes to swim. When it is dark, the fish likes to swim. I want you to notice that I am not reading word, waiting for them to write the word, another word, waiting for them to write the word. I read the entire sentence because the sentence carries meaning. So I do this because I'm also trying to stretch them to remember more than one word when they are spelling. So that is why I'm reading the entire word every time, not word by word. And then at the very end, again, is the reading of the book. You will notice also that at the end we have the reflection, and we encourage you, of course, for every lesson to do this reflection. So that was the process of going through the preliminary lesson. You will have 3 lessons that you will be working on, and these are the preliminary lessons where you're teaching students the syllable types.